Yep.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. Monday, June 5th, 2023. This is the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kurt. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next is discussion and possible action to approve claims dated June 5th, 2023 in the amount of $2,856,302.57.
I'll move the approval.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Nathan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next is public hearing on a request from Kirk D. Parazic, record owners to rezone approximately 16.69 acres in Wapsie Township, located in the southeast one quarter of section 14-T 789-78N-R4W 1268 Elder Avenue from A1 Agricultural District to R1 Residential District. We are in a public hearing.
Okay, in your package, you also got a copy of the maps to kind of give you an idea where this was at. On May 5th, the zoning commission held a public hearing on this rezoning request, and they did vote unanimously to recommend the rezoning of the properties. You can see on the map, it's on the west side of Elder Avenue, basically surrounded by established residential housing. It's 16.69 acres, so it's not really an economically viable farm unit on its own. The CSR is low, it's fairly hilly right there. But basically because of the surrounding property uses, the zoning commission found that our comprehensive plan would strongly support rezoning of the properties. Obviously within a 2-mile general development area around the city of West Liberty, where services could be extended or become available in the near future. And again, on that side of Elder Avenue, which is a hard surface road, it is all primarily residential use anyway. So there was a unanimous recommendation again for rezoning.
Didn't look like you got a lot of communication on it. or
No,
anything.
no.
Okay. We're in a public hearing. Do I have anyone that would like to speak for or against this issue? Seeing no one come forward.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kurt. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Kurt?
Aye.
Motion passes. The public hearing is closed. Next is discussion and possible action to approve an ordinance rezoning approximately 16.69 acres in Wapsie Township from A1 Agricultural District to R1 Residential District on the first of 3 readings. Let's see.
I will move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Nathan. Did I hear that? Yeah, second by Nathan. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Kurt?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, public hearing on proposed amendments to the fiscal year 22-23 Muscatine County budget. We are now in a public hearing on the proposed amendments. Do we have anyone that would want to speak for or against? Kayla, you have some
Would
more?
you like me to go through
Yeah,
a few
I
of
would.
them? Okay. So similar to last time, I'll go through each service area, and then you guys can ask questions as we go along. Service area 1, we're looking at amending the expenditures around $110,000. That's mostly due to jail kitchen item, commissary items, and then also some medical examiner fees. In service area, we're also amending some revenues in service area 1, $790,000, and that's due to federal prisoner inmates and jail commissary fund. Then in service area 3, we're gonna amend around $24,000, and that's due to salary benefit adjustments due to some retirements and overlap in those departments. In service area 6, we're actually gonna be decreasing both expenditures and revenues, and that's mainly due to taking out the FEMA buyout funds, and that's because that's gonna take place next fiscal year. In service area 7, we have a request of increased expenditures for salary, bridge inspections, and asphalt.
Is that just price changes mainly on the asphalt?
On which one?
On the asphalt, I see that's the bulk of it.
Yeah, it stemmed from when the original budget was made, some work was then came in considerably higher.
Okay.
That work's now complete.
Thanks, Brian.
And then in service area 9, we're looking at increasing around 17,000, and the bulk of that's due to increasing in telephone and website costs. Overall, it's a net increase of $35,905.
Okay. Very good. Do I have anyone that would like to speak for or against on this issue? Seeing no one?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Motion by Nathan, second by Jeff. This is a roll call vote, close the public hearing. Jeff?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Kurt?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Next is discussion and possible action to approve resolution 06-05-2301, amending the fiscal year 22-23 budget.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kurt. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Kurt?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is resolution 06-05-2302, fiscal year 22-23 budget appropriations.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Nathan. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
I vote aye. Kurt?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, very good. Next is discussion and possible action to approve renewal of an Iowa retail cigarette / tobacco / nicotine / vapor permit for Stewart Road Truck Stop, 2418 Stewart Road, Muscatine, Iowa.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kurt. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is discussion and possible action to approve renewal of an Iowa retail cigarette / tobacco / nicotine / vapor permit for Casey's Marketing Company, DBA Casey's General Store, 2472 1334 Highway 22, Nichols, Iowa.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kurt. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the May 22nd, 2023 regular meeting.
I'll move the approval.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Nathan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence. Jeff, do you have anything?
Had an continuing correspondence down on Pettibone, condition of the road. Really, mostly, I drove it. I think the road's in outstanding condition. There is one crossing where the decking boards are kind of, torn up a bit. No issue for a vehicle, but I suppose bicyclists. So I did reach out to Canadian Pacific Crossing folks and ask some questions. Now, the resident is asking about why one would have crossing guards and not the rest. So I'll send them that question too, to see what the railroad's policy is on that, but, so. And I think that resident also is questioning the pits. There's a pretty steep drop there to the pits, and wondering if we should have better and more guarding. I think the engineer's office has looked at it and said it meets, whatever the roadway, rules, and don't see any need for it. So, that was it for me.
Okay. Nathan?
Had the email chain that Jeff forwarded to us regarding those crossings. We had an invitation to the Muscatine County Energy District booth. We got a communication also, I think, from the assessor explaining how folks can sign up for the 65 and older exemption. And if you're on the Magic website, you can see that. That gives you a little break on your taxes. And I did have a conversation after our last meeting with Mr. James Bouger regarding our decision at that meeting. I believe that's all I had.
Okay. I had the correspondence for Pettibone, as well as a phone call from Mr. Boozer in regard to the intersection situation after that decision was made. I did have a an inquiry about permitting for fireworks for the 4th of July on an independent basis. And I believe that was all I had. Kurt?
I had pretty much everything that you guys had, plus I had a call from Annie Mueller from Wilton on a water issue after the new blacktop was put on his road. I talked to Brian about that a little bit. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Committee reports. Jeff, you got anything?
Nothing to note.
Let's see. I'm gonna help you on this one. I think you were at the same bi-state meeting I was at on the 24th.
Okay, I'm trying to remember when the last,
I know.
I'm looking at my, yeah, on the 24th I did have bi-state, yeah, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
That do it?
Yeah,
Okay. Nathan?
Let's see, I had, I don't think we had any official meetings. We did have an e-vote in the decategorization board. We transferred about $4,000 from juvenile court services to local Muscatine dollars, and I believe that has passed. We meet very infrequently, so we frequently do things by e-vote. And that, I do believe, is, one thing I should note, the Muscatine Community Health Association, which was founded, I think, about 40 years ago or so by Chuck Coulter and others. We recently determined that we're going to dissolve. There are any number of organizations now that are carrying on the great work of that, and rather than step on anybody's toes, we think we're just blending our efforts into that. So the Muscatine Community Health Association will be no more. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. On Wednesday, May 24th, had the bi-state meeting, and that was all I had. Kurt?
The 30th, I attended the Iowa Alert meeting that Chris Jasper put on at the community center in West Liberty. And then I worked several days at the Muscatine County Fair, getting ready for their weekend for the fair that was last Saturday.
Okay. Very good, thank you. What we got here? Items with the administration office. First is action to accept the May 2023 payroll claims.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Nathan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Anything, Kayla? You aware of anything? Very good. Receive information from county employees. Do I have any county employees? Brian?
Good morning. I want to give a quick update on our construction projects. A lot's happened in the last 2 weeks. Our 150th Street box culvert, which is IBC, that project is completed and it's open to traffic. They also are wrapping up their other box culvert on Holly Ave. They got some more dirt work and some rock to haul in, but really hoping that here in a week or two that one will be opened up as well. Our asphalt paving job, which was Bayfield, portion of North Isaac, 180th, and then up on Steel Mill, is complete. That's a great one to have done. Some projects coming up is our 135th Street box culvert just east of Western. It's unclear when that one will start. Should happen sometime this summer though. And then up on F58, our joint asphalt paving job with Scott County should start up later this summer. We haven't really gotten anything for solid dates, but should happen yet this year. So yeah, we've been busy. Our guys have been busy, and they've putting in a lot of hours. So
Great.
that's all I had.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have anyone else from the county wish to address the board? Seeing no one. Receive comments from the public. Do I have anyone from the public that would like to address the board? Please step to the podium, state your name and your issue, please. And address.
Hi, can you hear me? I don't have that on.
A little closer, maybe bend it up a little bit.
Hello? I still can't.
Are we on? I don't know.
I heard.
The light's on, that's all I can see. push?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
It's
We
more
can hear
for
you.
the audio.
It's more
It's
for
for
the
the
audio
video.
than us.
Good enough. I'm representing Isley Cemetery. I know that the cemeteries in Iowa, there were 10 Pioneer, and we're still investigating. Mr. Berry is. I've had some correspondence with the owners of the property on which part of the cemetery lands, and then the other part belongs to a neighbor on Burlington Road of Rod Lippelgos. My husband and I, he couldn't be here, he's at a doctor appointment, but my husband and I have looked into the state code, the Iowa code, which is pretty simple reading. It's just a lot of it. And saw that, the cemetery can be turned over to the owners close by and let them do whatever maintenance work, or they can give it to the county, and the county's responsible for any upkeep after they decide that. A lot of the tombstones are in the ground, flattened, not up anymore. I wish I had a picture to show you. I don't. Kelsey Bell said she takes some, but hasn't transferred any to us. It's not a good situation, but we did two things. We found out if we want to move the tombstones of my family out of there to any other cemetery, we're considering that, and that again said the county has to pay. And the last thing that I'm really disappointed about, and we went through the code, and I have the write-up from the paper. This went back to April, when this discussion began about the cemetery. So we really didn't communicate with the owners now, except 2 times, and it's been text. Where the land lines are, I guess it doesn't matter. The Bells went in and cleaned up the cemetery a lot. It was I do have a picture, but you can't really see much. It was in bad shape. So the one thing that really disappointed me is we were not allowed to go up and put flags or anything on the 3 veterans that were buried there. And the reason the name changed, Isley is my family, it's in my family who owned the land, so they ended up calling it Isley Hill. The other 2, lost my train of thought, sorry. The other 2 was a colonel, and the other one was a captain. And so one of them was Kaiser, and that's why Kaiser Isley Cemetery. And many people don't know Isley Cemetery is there because it's up on the hillside and back in the woods. But I was really disappointed. She said I couldn't go. She wouldn't advise me to go up there on Memorial Day. The only day of the year. It's not like I can go back and make it up. And I can't, we don't have good access into the cemetery before, and it's not any better, except that it's cleaned up. And there's many stones that are half in the dirt. And we were advised with Joe Furlong that you can't just pick those up and then read them, that you have to be very careful how you take them out of the ground. My point is, if you can't take them out of the ground looking at them, then what's the point? How are you going to notify any family members? There's different numbers for how many were buried there, and that's partly because they said and family, so we don't know how many people were in the family. We know the father and mother, but there's anywhere from 55 to 80 tombstones or people buried there, and we'd heard that there might be some grave robbing stuff going on, that a stone had been moved back and forth, but we never verified that. As far as the permission to go on the cemetery, Mrs. Bell said we never asked, but L&M School, through me, through L&M School, did the day of caring last year, no problem. It was rainy that day. They still went forward with a supervisor, Mindy Yarrington, and about 10, 12 kids. They cleaned up the cemetery what they could. The other problem is taking equipment up there to clean it up, because it's a fairly steep hill. And then this year when I asked and had it lined up with L&M, Miss Bell came back and said she had to talk to the Lippogos, the other owners, and they came back with no, we're not allowing it. Something that got into that said Boy Scouts, but it wasn't Boy Scouts, it was a day of caring. It was in the morning from like 8 o'clock or 8:30 till noon. You probably know they choose different sites to go to and clean up what needs to be, and that's their day of caring. This year, I was told, no, we couldn't go because she talked to her insurance agent and their lawyer, and they advised against it at this time. When we used to go up there, and the other owners let us through, you had to walk from the yard and past the garage and in a ways. Since then, they had put up the barn. They have an electric fence with the cow, and horse. So she definitely has to be involved where she takes us through an electric fence, turns it off, make sure the animal's over on this side, walk around, and then you can go to the hillside. The hillside is really, really rough. They've improved it. The two owners before this improved it, but it's still taking up equipment. I don't see that they can take equipment up. So last year, she said I didn't get permission from her, and I went back in my notes, and the farmers who were farming the land up there said we could go in from up above, can't remember that street, but go over to their land where Overhouse used to live. They could go in there, go alongside the fence row, and no problem. There's no crops in there, and we weren't there to damage anything, but we were told that we could go in there. That was 2022 last year. Before that, I don't know, we just moved into the Liza district and support the schools and different things and have for years. Trying to think of something else I wanted to say. Oh, in a state code, it says if there are tombstones that family wants to move, then the county will pay for the moving whatever of the tombstones. So that's an option for us. Sad to say, my family's there, but with all the other stuff that's going on, they don't want to go through all the hoops. The other thing, and it's in the state code, if you haven't read that, you have to give them 10 days notice to be allowed up there. Well, okay, and if that 10 days isn't agreeable to both parties, then they say, we'll find another date where we can let you go up there. They also said you have to, it can only be family. It can't be any friends. Why? We do have somebody who couldn't come to the meeting, a friend that's done cemeteries at Nichols and other places, and lives there. I have pictures of her putting the flag on the 3 gravestones or tombstones. And she went just because she does cemeteries at Nichols, like almost 200 cemetery, I'm trying to think, gravestones for Memorial Day. So I think that's all I got to say. I don't know if anybody has questions.
Okay. I know that Jim's been working on this process of all these cemeteries and things, and the one you're speaking of, I know is a challenge on this.
This is one of the pioneer cemeteries, right, Jim?
Excuse me?
Is this one of the pioneer cemeteries?
It is.
Okay, that you talked about earlier?
So, Mr. Beard, can I ask what the update is? Are there 4 still not looked at, or are you working on the last 4?
There's actually 2 we haven't identified. I've been to the farmer's house twice in the last week and have been unable to have contact with him to try to find out where one of them's located, and the other one, we don't know where it's located. It's in a 2-mile section. So,
Okay.
but just to be there's pioneer cemeteries and there's undesignated cemeteries. Most of the code that's been coded here is an undesignated cemetery. It appears that these 10 that we're dealing with may well all be pioneer cemeteries, which is a different code section. So, the update is when we identify the cemeteries, that we're gonna have to prepare a county ordinance to deal with, things going forward, so.
So this cemetery we're talking about it's not a pioneer, but
This
it's
one
an,
is.
it is a pioneer. And so there's pioneer and then there's undesignated,
Undesignated,
and that just could be a cemetery,
yeah.
could have been a family or whatever.
My guess is it's inherited over time that just doesn't get taken
Official
care of by
recognition of
somebody,
some
yes.
type,
Yes.
okay.
That's where most of the code speaks to the issues that Mrs. Fuller's talked about, but, the Pioneer Cemetery section is a lot less descriptive. So the ordinance will have to deal with those issues.
Okay.
The last soldier buried there was in 1927, and that was an Isley, who was my great-great-grandparents' family. And there, it was cleaned up before 1980, because my grandmother died in 1980, and she was real upset because a neighbor if you allow cattle to come across the road and really destroy a lot of those tombstones, knock them over. So Austin and Kelsey Bell have really cleaned up, but we want it to go forward, where we don't have to ask 10 days in advance and have more access to the road instead of going around the barnyard and having to do all this stuff. I mean, that was new, that we didn't know about until Mrs. Bell called. She's really not in any correspondence right now with me.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I have anyone else from the public that would wish to address the board or speak at this time? Seeing no one come forward, it is 9:28 and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.